Previously, I had already discussed my favorite J-horror films. And again, Danktober was heavily inspired by those, and I wanted to talk about those primarily. But I think I did a good job limiting how much Japanese horror I introduced into Danktober. But as far as horror films as a whole go, this might be no, not might. This is one of my favorites. The only reason I'm talking about it so far away from the end of the month is because I have a lot more to talk about afterwards in relation to this. This one has to go first, and then some other things. You'll see that tomorrow. 1979's Alien is a really good film. It's wild to me how something inspired by the success of Star Wars entirely encapsulates a different genre and does it so exceedingly well from a director I don't even like. It is a wildly good film. It's slow, it's tense, it's horrifying. It does a good job not showing you the monster too often and letting your mind fill in the gaps. I think that is vital to a lot of horror. Alien is again one of my favorite horror films. It goes back and forth with some others, but you'll have to hear about those later. What doesn't really go back and forth for me is the legacy, unfortunately. So again, Alien comes out in 1979, is a huge success. Huge success. Wildly successful film. It doesn't kickstart Sigourney Weaver's career, but it definitely does a great job showcasing her to a good audience, to a sizable audience. And then what is it, like a decade later? Sure, whatever. A few years later, finally, Aliens comes out. Shit's happening. It's a bit more of a action set piece, but it still has some horror elements. Again, not from a director I'm wildly crazy about. I don't like 90% of the rest of James Cameron's catalog. But it's still exceedingly well done. The cast is phenomenal in it. Lance Hendrickson, I said this in the house video. He's only in really good films or really bad films. This is one of the really good ones, thankfully. Instead of a single alien, it is a shitload of aliens. And to combat that, instead of having them all just die in the first 10 minutes, they actually have Marines, so they're able to fight back because guns and whatever. Good film. Overall, pretty good film. And then the series gets dicey. And then it gets iffy. I already think that Aliens is a bit of a downgrade. I still think it's good, but it just doesn't capture that same magic that the first one did for me. It's still really good, though. Aliens is still a really good film. And then Alien 3 comes out. And it's less good. Starts off pretty well. It has... who is it? It's Fincher. David Fincher, set to direct. But then he left? No, that's Resurrection. Where's Alien 3? Alien 3, directed by David Fincher. I like a lot of David Fincher's work. But the studio kind of fucks this one. This is just the anthology. I have a lot of Alien memorabilia. Alien 3 is wholly screwed over by the studio. There is a director's cut, but it's not really a director's cut. It's known as the assembly cut that reworks things how they were originally intended and puts some stuff here and there, but it's a lot of unfinished visuals. I think the assembly cut is a lot tighter. It still doesn't combat a lot of the primary issues with Alien 3. But they're back to a single alien. It's on a war planet. The biggest criticism a lot of people have with Alien 3 is the fact that Aliens ends off with, of course, Ripley still being alive. She's the face of the entire franchise up until this point. Ripley is still alive. Newt is still alive. And Hicks. Is it Hicks is the one who survives? Is the Marine who survives? Those three people are still alive, and then they've got, again, Lance Hendrickson, the android, Bishop. Those are the four surviving party members at the end of Aliens, and they all go into cryo sleep. Alien 3 starts up immediately. Hicks and Newt are just dead. They died in their pods. And Bishop is damaged irrevocably. He shows up for like 5 seconds later in the film, but it's just back to Ripley. It makes sense going from Alien to Aliens, Ripley being the only one alive, because she's the only one alive. But at the end of Aliens, you have these characters that are enjoyed, they're liked, and you just fucking kill them? Come on. But regardless, I guess it makes sense for Newt because she grew out of it. Hicks is still kind of, I'm pissed about that. But they just took too fucking long to make Alien 3. I'm swearing a lot in this one. Anyway, Alien 3 happens. It's not as successful. We start to see the decline of the Alien franchise. And then Resurrection comes out and kind of shits all over Alien 3's failures with its own brand new set of failures. It's awful. Alien Resurrection is an awful film. Ron Perlman, fantastic actor. He gets scared by a spider, so he shoots it with his revolver. I know that sounds fantastic. I know I described that, and you're like, okay, come on, that sounds great. And I agree with you. But it doesn't belong in an Alien film. Alien Resurrection kind of blows chunks. And nothing about... There's no director's cut that salvages some of that. None of it is redeemable in my opinion. The newborn looks weird. A lot of it is just weirdly charged. I am not at all into Alien Resurrection. And then there's a hiatus. There's some stuff I'll talk about later. But when the Alien franchise comes back, it is like 20 years later in the real world. Not like 20 years into the future. No. 20 years pass in real time, and Prometheus comes out. Prometheus, I think, on paper, looked great. And I was excited to go see it. You got Ridley Scott back. I don't like him as a director now, but back then I was like, oh, of course I want Ridley Scott back for an Alien revival. I want that. It had a pretty good cast. So Charlize Theron, Idris Elba, the dude who plays the Magneto, the dude who plays Magneto in the past timeline of the X-Men films, Michael Fassbender, and then the lady who played the girl with the dragon tattoo. I cannot remember her name, but she is the face of Prometheus. Star-studded cast, wildly good special effects. I was excited for Prometheus, and then I go in and it's confusing heap. It's awful. It's a very bad film. I think it introduces a lot of cool things into the lore, but none of that is on film. Everything that is cool about Prometheus is like background knowledge that wasn't even in a novelization or anything. That's one of the things. The Alien franchise is known for its, well, maybe not known, but it has a wide berth of very interesting universe-expanding novels. Not only did Ridley Scott completely ignore that set of novels, there also was nothing new to add at all. I don't know, maybe that's like just a me thing. I was a little upset by it. Prometheus doesn't even have a xenomorph in it. I think the teaser at the end of the film is called the necromorph or the protomorph, or something like that. I swear I know I have the appearance of being this huge nerd for a lot of things. I do not have that much nerd knowledge about alien lore. As much as I like aliens and a lot of the lore, and I just bitched about books for like a minute or two. I promise that I'm not that guy. Yeah, so the alien doesn't show up. It is very loosely tied to the alien universe, just taking place in the same universe, and kind of explaining who the dude in the chair was in this film. But other than that, not a lot. Not a lot of background information. And then Covenant comes out. Alien Covenant, not just Prometheus, Alien Covenant has the alien name on it. It comes out a few years later, and it's, marketing itself as this is what you guys wanted with Prometheus that you didn't get. Still directed by Ridley Scott. Completely new cast. Even though what's her name from Girl with the Dragon Tattoo? I think it's Naomi something. I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. And it's like 3 a.m. My brain isn't really working. She was alive at the end of Prometheus. Not a part of the cast. Who knows what happened to her? Covenant comes out and it stinks. It stinks big balls. That doesn't sound like words, but like I still think that it conveys my opinion on Alien Covenant. Alien Covenant stinks big balls. I'm going to start saying that from now on. So Alien Covenant kind of blows. Again, same thing with Prometheus. The special effects are really good. The movie itself, gorgeous. But when you have a dog shit story and you just kind of flounder all of this beautiful cinematography for 2 hours and then the movie's over, what the fuck do you want me to do with this? With this movie that I'm watching? I don't know. It turns me off, and it's sad that there are 6 movies in the Alien franchise, and I've only said good things about 2 of them. 2.5. I like parts of Alien 3. I like parts of it. Overall, Alien deserves a lot better. And now it's owned by Disney. I don't think it's going to get it. But I can hope, I guess. Alien still exists. Alien and Aliens are still films that I can physically own. But I want more quality media in this franchise. This franchise means a lot to me. Alien was the first rated R film I ever saw. My dad, unbeknownst to my mother, when I was real young, not real young, but too young to be watching these movies. When I was young, whenever they would go out of the house, my mom and my sister, for whatever reason, to go visit her sisters or to do whatever, it was the heat is on, as they say in 80s films, to some tune of music. That's when we would watch some rated R film that never in a million years would I get the go ahead to watch while my mom was home, because she didn't know. And Alien was the first one of those. Did it terrify the shit out of me? Yes. Did I love it? Yes. It was amazing. It was so great. And it just... I have a lot of nostalgia for Alien. This is something that's close to my heart. It's a tangible representation of my dad and I sharing media, sharing our enjoyment of film together. I love it. I love it as a franchise. But okay, 2 divided by 6. I'm awful at math, but like the better part of 2/3 of your series is ass. Come on, I that hurts. That hurts me inside. I believe that the Alien franchise can do better, and that I don't I don't think Disney's gonna do it. But we'll see. We'll see if Disney can do it. We'll see, but I don't have high hopes. Okay, I think that's enough ranting about Alien. I have a lot of other things to rant about in this little session, and it's like, don't tell me it's 4 a.m. It is. It is 4 a.m. So that's cool. Okay, let's move